Hello and welcome to this episode of the No Gimmicks Just Sweat podcast. First, thank you for listening, and if you enjoyed this episode, please remember to take a moment to rate and review us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you are listening. Also, make sure to follow us on Instagram at No Gimmicks Just Sweat. No Gimmicks Just Sweat was started to showcase people from all walks of life sharing their particular fitness journeys. Everyone has a different story, and everyone has a different reason behind their journey. Hopefully these stories will not only inspire you, but also help you aspire to heights you never thought possible. Again, thank you for listening, and now let's get it started. Hello and welcome to No Gimmicks Just Sweat, and today we have Sharifa Knowles on the show. Sharifa, how are you doing today?
I am doing amazing. It is Friday.
Well, you sound kind of excited that it is a Friday.
Yes. Yes, I'm doing very well, and I hope you're well as well.
I am, thank you. So,
Very good.
so as we start each show, I always start with icebreakers. So I'm gonna throw some questions out there. First thing that comes to mind as an answer, you throw it back to me, okay?
Okay.
All right. Morning runs or evening runs?
Evening runs, especially except when I'm training for something.
Okay. All right. Solo runs or group runs?
Solo. I am a poster child for an introvert. I like my alone time.
Look. No argument there. I am the same. I am the exact same way. That's my time to clear my head and get my thoughts in order.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Running on a treadmill or running outside?
Running outside for sure.
Trail runs or road runs?
Road runs 100%. I did one trail run and I just don't understand it. But
Really?
no, yeah, it's just not my thing. I get all clumsy, like I fell. It was just too much. But I experienced it. It was fine. But no, road running,
Okay.
please.
All right. Here's one. Would you prefer to run in the snow or run in the rain?
Definitely in the rain.
Okay.
Yeah,
You
definitely in
don't
the
want to have
rain.
the fun, the frolic in the snow and stuff.
No, thank you.
Okay. If you can go on a run with any celebrity, athlete, or famous person, they can be dead or alive, who would it be?
Ooh, so good. All right, so keeping it in the vein of an athlete, it would have to be, and I hope I do not butcher her name, Alifine Tuliamak.
Okay. Okay.
I just think she's so cool. I met her briefly at it was the Peachy Road Race Expo.
Okay.
And yeah, I think she's awesome.
Cool. I think she's awesome as well.
Yes.
All right. Last question. All
Hmm.
right. Your dream location to go for a run, anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world. Gosh, that's tough. I would have to say, oh, honestly, anywhere in the Caribbean.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I love the beach.
Cool. Cool. And that's a common answer. Running along the beach.
Yeah.
Don't think about that. You're not gonna run fast because it's on the beach.
No.
It's sand,
Right.
but just the experience and it's a lot of freedom. That's why I would think it would be just a lot of freedom to kind of just really let your mind wander.
Yes. Yes, for
All
sure.
right. All right. So as we start with every show, we want to know who you are. What's your story? How did you get from where you were to where you are now as a runner, as an athlete, and as you and I've noticed that you've started to wear a lot more hats in the fitness on the fitness side of things. How did you get to that
Yes.
point?
Wow. So it's been quite a journey. So I'll approach it from kind of what started me with running. I started running around 2011, and what prompted me to get into running, um, it was a very difficult year. I had some very difficult losses, three like back to back, and so it grief. It was one of the things that allowed me to tap into an outlet, kind of throw myself into training. At that time, I was a new mom, new-ish, and I, I had been married for a while, but between it it was a bit taxing, and then having to deal with the loss and grief of losing family members. It was tough, you know. So I had never ran a race before. Um, I I was, I guess, pretty active. Like I belonged to a gym. I did some, group fitness classes, participated. I gallop around my subdivision, but
Right. Yeah.
never, like I never raced. And
Right.
so I said, I'm going to train for a half marathon. I had never run a race before. I had no idea how to do it, but I figured this is cool, like let me just try to be a runner. It seems cool.
Okay.
So downloaded a training plan, went and got fitted for shoes because Google told me to. And, I was like, oh, okay, what are these runners that, they're taking these goo things. It must be good. I'm just going to go and buy a bunch of, well, just like, you got to look the part. So
Right.
I trained for my very first race was a half marathon. It was the Atlanta Track Club Thanksgiving half.
Okay. Okay.
And that's typically not people's first race, but here
Right.
we are. And finished it. It was amazing. And going into it, and I think just as people want to try something or they want a new challenge or goal, they think of it as a destination, right?
Okay. Right.
So I just said, okay, I want to say I ran a half marathon. I trained, I did all the things. Okay, so fast forward, I did finish the race upright.
Okay.
And fast forward to date, I've completed um, like 26 half marathons. I've ran four full marathons, two world major marathons. Like it literally turned into something more than I could have imagined. I just wanted to take my mind off of everything that I was going through, try to find some light in the darkness. And I caught the bug.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It,
That first run always gets you. That first race, you catch that bug.
yeah, there is nothing quite like having that feeling of crossing the finish line.
Right.
It's pretty cool
Yes. Yes, it is.
every time. Yeah. Um yeah, so that's kind of what got me into running and becoming more active in the running community, which is where I know you,
Right.
running around Atlanta. And so it's just a cool community. Had the opportunity to meet a bunch of really nice people. And yeah, so that's kind of where running has um, taken me.
Okay. So
Yeah.
so as a runner, how does your weekly training look like?
So it sort of depends on, um, so I feel like every time now when we're talking about things, it's like pre-pandemic and
Right.
post-pandemic.
Yes.
So I'll reference pre-pandemic first,
Okay.
because there was definitely a pivot and a change in my journey post-pandemic. But prior to COVID, I had a race on my calendar months ahead. So I was always running, I'd say about 15, 20 miles a week, depending on what event I had coming up. It could be a little less or a little bit more, but pretty, I was putting in mileage pretty regularly. Um, there was definitely a change in my training and running, when the world shut down and, one by one, the races were being canceled or moved to virtual races.
Right.
And it was kind of like running has been such a big part of my identity for so many years. And I don't know how it was for you, but I literally was like, "Well, what am I gonna do?"
So, and that's actually a good question thing. For me, as long as I could go outside and run, and I guess it was more so because I live in a rural area.
Okay, okay.
So, so it was like no people, no traffic. It was nothing for me to like, okay, I'm gonna go ride my bike or run on these back roads because I'm
Right.
all alone. I'm by myself. I'm not around people. So for me, I kept running. I just didn't have that race.
Yeah.
I think, like you were saying, months ahead of time, like 3 months, I was like, okay, I'm running this race on this Saturday, this race on this Saturday, this race on
Yeah.
this Sunday. I just didn't have that anymore.
Mhm.
So, it was like, okay, I'm gonna go running, but I had to kind of flip how I looked at running. Instead
Yeah.
of it as running to prepare for a race, it was more of running to, for lack of a better term, stay a little sane,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
and as well as to say, okay, I'm not focused on running a race. Let me change running to focus on fitness.
Mhm.
So that's how I kind of approached it during, that year we call 2020.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I felt like, okay, and so I have to kind of reassess. I have to pivot. I did sign up for some virtual races. And like you said, like, you still have the desire to run, you still have the desire to get out there, because it's just a part of who you are, right?
Right.
And I remember thinking, like, okay, it's fine. That's good. That's going to take some pressure off. Like, I don't have to worry about um, you know, obsessing over my splits and my data, and
Right.
I can
Exactly.
just run.
Right.
And I don't
Exactly.
have to worry about, okay, I got to hit this PR. It took some of the pressure off. But then because I didn't have things coming up, I kind of was like, okay, well, maybe I can focus more on cross training. Maybe I can do all the things
Yep.
that I'm supposed to do as an athlete, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Like you know what to do, but you don't always necessarily do it. So I said, okay, this is a great opportunity for me to focus a little bit more on becoming a stronger runner, strength training, which I've said that I've always wanted to do. But because of my race schedule, I always felt like I had to make sure I was accumulating a certain amount of miles, right?
Right.
So strength training always went to the back burner, but I didn't have that problem now. So I had a major pivot. So back to your original question, as far as training goes, post pandemic, My running looks a whole lot different now. So my typical training for a week, um, I might run once, maybe twice a week.
Oh, okay.
Um, However, I do much more strength training, hit, and now when I do run, I focus more on intervals rather than like just straight up cardio. So um, yeah, I
Oh,
had a major transformation post COVID. I don't even recognize myself sometimes.
who is this person in the mirror? That's what. Who is this?
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
let me kind of elaborate. Let's kind of go dig a little deeper on that.
Okay.
So, based upon how you ran in the past, have you had
hmm
a chance to run a race this year? And what differences have you seen from finishing a race now, if you've had the opportunity to run one, versus how you used to finish a race? Do you feel like you're stronger, faster, slower? Do you see any differences?
Yeah, that's a great question. So my last race or in-person race um was February of 2020.
Oh wow! So you haven't had a chance to run a race.
I haven't had a chance to run a race. However, I when I get out and run, I can tell you that my running economy has improved, my
Mm-hmm.
turnover, um, I'm a much better runner, much better. I feel stronger, I feel faster. It's made a huge difference, incorporating that strength training,
Yes.
and I also eat a lot differently too, but yeah. So I am actually looking forward to signing up for a race in the near future just to see. But yeah, I mean, my stats look way better.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
So you definitely feel stronger as a runner now, because I've noticed with me,
hmm
because I changed that, I do feel a lot stronger.
Yes.
Um, and I've noticed that I'm also feeling a lot. Best way I can kind of word this: I'm not as tired after a race.
Yeah.
Even if I go hard, I'm still like, okay, I feel like I can go another 3-4 miles.
Yes.
So I feel like I have a lot of energy, and I think that the way when I changed things up last year and
hmm
adjusted for the pandemic and not had to race, that kind of has given me positive results, and just a positive you know running experience going forward.
For sure. Yeah.
All right, so um, you as a runner now, were you ever an athlete? In high school or college?
So in high school, I ran track and I was a cheerleader. And my events in track were not distance. It was like I did the 100 and the 4x1 relay. So I had never been an endurance runner.
Okay,
Yeah. So
but you have an athletic background.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right, so let's kind of talk about as um, a runner as you're getting ready to run, and I'm specifically asking you this
Uh-huh.
before you got into nutrition, which we'll talk about a little bit later. How did you
hmm
fuel for running and training, you know, before, as opposed to how you fuel for it now?
That's a really good question. So, um, my diet just consisted of really hot, like a lot of protein. And I cringe saying this, but it's okay. This is a safe place. So like very low carbs. The only time that I would really eat carbs is, I'd carb load before a race because,
Mhm.
Google told me to do that. But
Darn
um
Google.
Google,
Google.
yeah, you just get all these random facts and tips from Google. Um but I can say now in hindsight, I'm not sure how I was able to fuel and train for these endurance events and not have as many, not be nourishing myself with more carbs, which I really needed. So, but before again, protein, veggies, and then electrolytes. Um, I don't want to say any brands, but
Right, right.
definitely get some electrolytes in me, hydrate really well, and some sort of fast acting carbs like a goo or something like that before and during.
Okay. For some reason, I just can't do the goos and the gels.
Yeah,
I've tried and I just can't, you know. So I've had to find other alternatives for me, for longer in races that require that. Because I'm like, I just can't do the goo. I just can't do them.
yeah, it's definitely trial and error.
Right. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah, but
Definitely.
I hear you. I hear you because some make me very sick to my stomach.
Yes. Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing, like you were saying, it's trial and error. I know when I first started running, I spent a lot of money on products just to try.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they did not agree with my stomach.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you can relate, but I know there are probably runners that can relate that when your stomach starts bubbling
Oh yeah.
during a half marathon,
Yeah.
that is not a fun experience.
It is not.
No, it is not.
Porter potty or not.
Yes.
It's not fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So you learn very quickly, like, yeah, let's try this out before the race.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
kind of time and see, okay, I took this at such time. How long, how long do I have before I start feeling something or whatnot? You know,
I'm telling you. Yeah.
you like trial and error. See,
Yeah.
this is what people do not understand why runners go through so much.
Yeah.
Is there so much trial and error?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's kind of go into a question that I try to ask everyone. This is a very important question.
Yeah.
What's your go-to running shoe?
Ooh. This is a good one. So,
It's also could be a very hot topic kind of thing too,
yeah.
depending on
So
who you ask.
yeah. So there's been a, a evolution. Um, I was I'm thinking back to the right now, um, it's Brooks,
Okay,
glycerin,
okay,
and it's a neutral shoe. I'm a neutral runner. Love it. I had a little moment with Hoka. That's right before I went to Brooks. I think I switched over a few years ago. So like it's Brooks glycerin. It's it doesn't matter. When they're about to come out with the new release,
mm-hmm.
that's when like I jump on and I try to get as many in my size when they go on sale
Right,
before they
exactly.
discontinue it because that's you got to do that.
Right,
Um,
exactly.
yeah, but no, I love it. I love Brooks glycerin. It's like
Okay.
butter.
All right. So when you run, do you run with or without music?
Always music.
All right, so what's on your playlist right now?
Okay, so I am a huge 90s hip hop
Sweet,
head.
yes. I see. I knew I liked you for a reason.
So I don't know. And I have a teenager, and I'm like, look. And so I try to, I tried to um, encourage her to listen to quality hip hop. But I don't know what it is that they listen to now. I'm like, hey, 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 what is that? Turn that off. So, yes, I am a super duper hardcore 90s hip hop head.
Yep, that you right here. See, the secret of it is when they're in the womb, you put the headphones up to them. That's how I get my daughter into
So she
it.
likes the good stuff.
Yes,
Very
yes,
good.
yes.
Bravo. Good on you.
I was like, yeah, let's listen to this. My wife used to look at me like, and she just shake her head. I was like,
Yes.
this is, she's not gonna be corrupted by this stuff. I said, she's gonna know
Yeah.
what good music is.
Yes.
What R&B, what soul. Yeah, she knows what good
Hmm.
music is.
Yeah.
And
It's a
now I probably will get flamed for saying that. But you don't like the young stuff? Okay. It- yeah, I'm sounding old now.
yeah. Matter of fact, so this is so fun fact. Um, when I ran the New York Marathon, you know how you run through every borough in
Mm-hmm.
New York. And I'm also that's my birthplace as well. So I had my playlist. Now this was a joint effort. Like I had a committee, a playlist committee, and we had to hit every borough on the playlist. So I timed out like about how long it was a whole thing. But yes, um amazing, amazing
Sweet,
experience. So as I was running, I was experiencing hip hop through every borough. It was amazing.
sweet, sweet.
Yes.
Okay, this is going to be kind of a two-part question.
Okay.
What is your proudest moment as a runner? And at the same time, what is your worst moment as a runner?
Wow. Okay. I would have to say, um, 2018, finishing the New York Marathon, which I just referenced. However, leading up to that, it's always been a dream for me to run that race. Um, and I did a charity run. It was my first time running, raising money for charity, but also very personal to me because um, prior to that, my cousin was diagnosed with MS, multiple sclerosis. And so I raised money for the MS Foundation and ran in her honor. So that was really cool. She was there, at the finish line and very emotional race, but definitely proud um, because I was running for something much bigger than me
Right.
and bringing awareness to MS. Um, my worst moment? Um, so I, and I'm trying to remember what year this was, trained for the Savannah full marathon. And that year it was unseasonably warm. I was at mile 20. I actually ran this with my husband. I bought him a race registration for his birthday. And he questioned that. But I said, "Oh, look, we can train together." And but anyway, so yeah, it didn't go over well, but it's fine. Um, yeah, so we got separated during the race, or he's like, just go ahead or whatever. Um, and they cut the course at mile 20. I think I had made it to mile 20 because I mean, there were people passing out, like you're running by the medic tents. The medic tents were full. It was so hot. And there's this long stretch where you're just on the road. There's no trees, nothing. And I was so upset. And I mean, like they had the police officers trying to get people off the course. Like I'm running around the police officers because I'm in shock. Like, what do you mean? What are you talking about?
Right.
You have to go. And I had saw a couple of friends on the turnaround, and I'm waving at them, and they're trying to explain to me what's happening, that they're cutting the course, and I didn't get it until much later. But that was the worst experience. Because I was on track to PR that race.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so I kind of, cried into my shirt after we got there because it was a huge letdown.
Right.
It was
And,
it was it was devastating.
yeah, and I think I remember that year. 'Cause yeah, there was a rock and roll in Savannah. It was like, normally that's in November, and it was like 80 some degrees that year for some reason.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep, you're correct. Yeah.
All right. So I first met you as a runner. I know you as a runner. But in
Right.
recent months, something's changed. You've added some other titles behind runner. You want to kind of explain that?
Sure. So, um during during the pandemic, I guess we're still in it, huh? I'm still saying it like it's over. It's not over. But, um I when I made that pivot that I talked about earlier as far as running and tapping into some other areas of fitness, I became very interested in nutrition. And a really good friend of mine, um, she posted about um, having a change in her nutrition. And she was talking about macros. And I've heard that term, thrown around a lot. And it always seemed so um, foreign, I guess. Like every time I would do research about macronutrients and how to apply it to your training, it just seemed very confusing. So I always tapped out, like, I don't know what y'all doing. I'm just gonna, stick to paleo or whatever,
Right.
keto. And she had posted something about like how she transformed. Also, also was a runner and then kind of went on to be a trainer. And it was that moment. Um, because when you hear things from people, it's like it takes the right person, the right energy, the right time for it to hit your ears, for you
Yes.
to say, let me try that.
Yes.
Or it's somebody that I know.
Right.
It's working for them. Let me try that. So then I jumped on it, started doing more research, started tracking, eating different foods, playing around with it. I became very intrigued, and I decided that I wanted to go through certification. More so just because I'm a nerd and I just um, like to know the things. So I started to see some very positive changes in my uh, energy levels, in my body composition, in my strength. And I was just hungry to learn more. So fast forward, I got certified as a nutrition coach, and so that's one thing. I launched my business, where now I am taking the knowledge that I've learned, through my professional training to empower and help um, women just get healthy and just really transform their relationship about with food. So it was a huge transformation um, journey for me, and I really wanted to share with others. And so now I do that. In addition, most recently, too, back to that pivoting, learning about fitness. I also became very interested in training and lifting and have been just amazed at what my body could do in terms of strength and complementing that with nutrition. And then I most recently became certified as a personal trainer. So I'm hoping to launch that very soon. So, wow, right?
Yeah, see, see what the pandemic has done.
It
Were you
wasn't
stuck?
all bad.
Were you stuck at home?
Yes, for a short time. And so my full-time gig is in education. And so I currently work in the district office for a Metro Atlanta school system, and we were working from home for a little bit, as you know, everyone was sheltering in place.
Yes.
But yes, and then we've, I've been back in the office and in schools, supporting schools. But that it's just kind of amazing how certain events
Hmm.
or experiences cause you to pause and
Yes.
pivot and
Yes.
reflect. And that's how it impacted me. And
Yes.
so it's been like so fun. I'm having so much fun with it.
Yes. It's and I've heard this from a lot of people is that a lot of people also did a lot of soul searching during the
Hmm.
pandemic, and it made them kind of look at not just things but just life differently. And to some people, it's gotten them on different paths from what
Hmm.
they originally were doing, prior to the pandemic. And
Yes.
so it sounds like with you, you just kind of expanded on what you were already doing to be better, and then to share that with other people.
Right. Yeah. I think it's almost unfortunate when you experience something that's positive. And in all areas of my life, I feel like it's been a really positive experience. I think it's unfortunate to keep that all into yourself. I think we almost have an obligation to share and to be a light for other people. And
Yes.
that's what I hope to do. Um, so we'll see where it goes.
Oh, it's gonna go far. I
Yeah,
can already tell it's gonna go far.
thank
So,
you.
so with all that, what is your message to someone who says, you know, I'm getting close to entering my 50s this year, you know,
Hmm.
and a lot of people that I find that are, wanting to make changes in their life from a fitness standpoint, the thing they say is like, oh, it's too late for me to start running, or I'm too old, or I can't do this. What's your advice to them?
Well, I mean, I honestly feel like um, if you woke up, you still have breath, you always have a chance. It's never really too late. Um, you life is meant to be lived. So, um, as I get older and approaching my mid 40s, um, I I just look at things so differently. I look at how delicate life is, but then life is meant to be lived. It's never too late to try something new. It's never too late to shoot for a goal. You can do it. And the only person that's really stopping you is you.
Exactly. Exactly. You know, I hear that so often from people like, "Oh, I can't do that." And I'm like, "Yeah, you can. You might not be able to do it at a certain level that you see other people doing it, but you can do it. Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, you might not can run an 8 minute mile, pace for, 8 minute pace. I was like, but what's wrong with a 10 minute or 12 minute or 16 minute?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
I said, so and that's what it's just trying to get people to kind of understand that. And I'm like, you can do it. I said, you just have to want to get out there and do it.
Yeah. And you're a runner if you run.
Yes,
You,
exactly.
you know, there's no test to pass. There's no, I mean, and that's one thing I love about the sport. It's accessible to everyone.
Right. And
Yeah.
well, I think people get kind of caught up when they see, and this is kind of I don't, for lack of a better term, the fault of social media. They
Yeah.
see people, you know, with their run streaks. They see people completing, marathon after marathon, race after race,
Mhm.
fast PR times and stuff. And
Yeah.
they kind of feel that like, oh, well, I can't do that. Oh, I'm not really
Right.
a runner if I don't do that. I've heard in the past that, well, you're not a runner until you do a marathon. I'm like, well, I don't care if I do it in a marathon, so I guess I'm not a
Right.
runner.
Right.
So,
Like who said?
right, exactly. I'm like, well, okay. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, yeah, if you get up there, if you get out, you put on tennis shoes, or if for some crazy reason you want to run barefooted, but if you put on a pair of shoes, you get out there and you run, you're a runner. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter how fast you run. If all you want to do are 5Ks, that's fine. If all you want to do are 10Ks, that's fine. You're still a runner.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
A hundred
So,
percent.
what would you, based on what you know now, what would you go back and tell your younger self?
Oh, let's see. What would I tell young Sharifa? Um, Related to fitness
Yes.
or
Well, even life,
um,
fitness, life, just whatever.
I would say, um, don't wait. Um, if you want to do something, you know, don't wait. Um, Also, uh, remember that your journey is your journey.
Right.
Try not to get into um, the comparison game because, like you mentioned earlier, in the age of social media, um, sometimes you do get caught in, oh, I wish I was faster, or that looks so easy for that person. But really focusing on your journey, because that's really just a distraction. I mean, obviously, it's great to have people to inspire you, and I think that's like a really positive thing about social media.
Yes.
There is a lot of
Yes.
inspiration, community, but your journey is your journey, and you are the author of your journey, for the most part. um,
Yeah.
but
Exactly.
yeah, you know, keep your eyes focused on you, and don't wait. Don't wait. Whatever it is that you want to do, it's yours. You can have it. Um, yeah, don't wait. Do it now.
Exactly. If not now, when?
Right. What are we
Exactly.
waiting on?
Yes. All right. So, what goals do you have for yourself in 2021? Since 2020 is pretty much just, well, for you, you did a lot in 2020. You kind of, you took on nutrition, you took on becoming a personal trainer. But what else do you see for yourself going into 2021?
Um, I would like to uh, continue to educate. I'm an educator, but really, in terms of educating about health and fitness and continuing to empower um, other people, especially women, whom I think, um, naturally wear a lot of hats. We have to show up a lot and be a lot of things to a lot of people. And I
Yes.
think sometimes we over function in that way, just as natural nurturers. And that's just what we do. And typically, um, not always make ourselves the priority. And I would like to continue to empower women to make themselves a priority, to show up for themselves as much as they show up for others. Um, and that's my goal, to reach as many people as I can, just through education and support. And yeah, I feel like um, that's what I'm supposed to be doing right now.
Awesome.
So yeah,
Awesome. All right. Last question.
okay.
What is a non-running, non-fitness fact about you that most people don't know?
Wow. Um, Gosh, I don't know. I'm a pretty open book. Um,
This has you stumped.
I know, and I'm usually not speechless. Goodness.
It could be a hobby or whatever. Well, we,
Um,
we, we know you love 90s hip hop,
yes.
so you got that.
Um, okay. Well, my favorite group of all time is A Tribe Called Quest.
Oh,
I probably I
yes.
probably listen to Tribe at least 15 times a week.
Okay, something there. But I can understand. I'm a Wu Tang man myself. I'm all about Wu
Yes,
Tang. I'm all about Wu Tang.
yes. Oh man. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Kids, if you're listening, that is the Google a Tribe Called Quest and Wu Tang Clan.
Yes. Yes. Real hip hop.
Well, Sharifa, thank you for coming on to the show.
Thanks for having me. This has been so much fun.
Yes, and how can people, if they want to get in contact with you or follow you on social media, how can they do that?
Okay, so if you would like to get in contact with me on Instagram for my running page, it's Sherry underscore runs underscore ATL. Um, for my wellness nutrition business, it is Sharifa Knowles Wellness. And I'm also on Facebook. as Sharifa Knowles Wellness as well. And all that information is there. If you want to get in contact with me, I'm not too hard to find. So
Sweet, sweet. Again, thank you. I love talking to you this evening.
it was a pleasure.
Yes. All right. You take care now.
All right. Thanks,
All right.
Eric.
All right. Bye
Bye.
bye. And that's it for this episode of No Gimmicks Just Sweat. I really hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe and rate and review us wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you for your support, and until next time, keep crushing your goals.